With my expectations set so high after Arkham Knight's main campaign, I was disappointed by A Matter of Family. As a piece of DLC, it definitely added something more for the keen gamer. It sated my voracious appetite for more Batman, but in doing so it left me feeling guilty. This guilt derives from two things. Firstly, the story is weak, and secondly, it doesn't add anything of substance to the core game. Why the guilt, you may ask? Well, regardless of those two glaring weaknesses, I still had a great time. And this really shows how strong the fundamental gameplay of Arkham Knight is. Stripped down to its most basic form, it is still fun. I pinned expectations on A Matter of Family that might have been a tad unfair. During Arkham Knight's main story, we were shown the historical scene from A Killing Joke, where Barbara Gordon is crippled by the Joker. It is harrowing and superbly realised. One of my favourite story beats in the game. It had the lifelong Batman fan of me wanting to see the rest, see the before and the after. And when I heard the first piece of DLC would be focusing on Barbara as Batgirl, I felt that was the intention, a retelling of A Killing Joke. And the initial trailer suggested, well at least to me, this was the case. Jim Gordon, kidnapped by the Joker, a circus environment, Barbara as the main character, the Joker's voiceover also alluding to it.
Welcome one and all to Joker's main event. Tonight's special act, the magnificent deaths of the caped do-gooders.
It felt like a sure thing. I look back now, with the most prized gifts, hindsight, and realise for all the similarities that were there are a few glaring differences. This hope for a retelling of a classic story is what disappointed me most about the DLC. At the end I did a double take. What? That was it? I was so sure the narrative link would show up, but when it didn't, I was left off balance. Using Batgirl feels only marginally different from Batman. She's not so much a powerhouse, but is still effective in her own way. She glides from enemy to enemy like you'd imagine. The animation's fluid and acrobatic. And as to be expected, combat is still slick. The Predator missions are only tweaked by the lack of gadgets and fear takedowns, much like the Harley Quinn and Red Hood missions were. To balance these changes, Batgirl comes packing a souped-up remote hacker. The upgrades diversifying its use against enemies and fitting comfortably with Barbara's character. It didn't particularly change the way I played the game, but it did lend itself nicely to some awesome goon takedowns. The gameplay loop of A Matter of Family felt much the same as Arkham Knight, just without the traversal, either by Cape or Batmobile. It felt a lot more in keeping with Arkham Asylum than any of the newer titles in the series. It is just a shame it didn't have any of the Metroidvania elements, which made Asylum a masterpiece. The DLC felt sparse, a beautiful empty shell, and it really did look beautiful. The elements, creatively mixing circus iconography with that of an oil rig. It's incredibly Joker-esque. It's almost hellish, the rig high above blowing smoke and fire over the garish tents and rides. As you would imagine, Rocksteady nails the atmosphere. It's just a shame this art direction was squandered on a shallow story. A Matter of Family could have been so much more. It had everything set up to be a home run. All my gripes aside, I would still recommend playing A Matter of Family, even if only to experience the flaws and imagine what it could have been, what the story could have been, and the impact it could have had on the series as a whole. A Matter of Family is still worth a play.